Okay, team. So, good evening. Thanks for time for joining us. So today, like I mentioned, today we'll be discussing about CI/CD. Okay. So in CI/CD, we will see what exactly CI/CD, right? So as you can see here, diagram it says CI is nothing but it is a continuous integration, and the CD means continuous deployment. Okay. So it focuses on automating the software build, test, and deployment process. On the other hand, like a DevOps is more of a culture that emphasizes collaboration, communication, and integration between development and the operation teams. So we will have to understand two different categories or two different ways here. First is a CI, which is your continuous integration, and CD, continuous deployment. So as you can see here in your diagram here, many people get confused, but let me clear here. When I see the CI, this is actually comes in the CI process. Okay, this is comes in CI process. That means as a development comes in the continuous integration. So what it includes in the continuous integration in the sense, first we have a plan, then code, then build and test. These four basically comes under your CI, which is your continuous integration. And we have a some known as CD, continuous delivery, deployment, or you can call it deployment and deliver. There are two different meanings that I will explain later. For now, you just mentioned continuous integration, okay, and continuous deployment, or we can call it as the continuous deployment also. We can call it delivery also is there, but there are two different meanings that I will explain maybe later on. Okay, so if you see in the continuous delivery, we have like and that comes under release, deploy, operate, and the monitor. Okay, so this is the basically meaning of CI/CD. So we will basically be focusing on what is pipeline first in that, because like I mentioned, in our CI/CD we will be focusing more of in Azure pipelines. Okay, then importance, then we will also try to understand what is like basic pipeline, and then pipeline structure, how trigger happens. Okay, there are many more. So as we learn slowly, we will explain it. So as you can see here, see, this is the Azure pipelines in CI/CD process. Okay, this comes under you implementing a build strategy. So what you understand here is that when I say CI, like I mentioned, CI basically continuous integration, and CD means continuous deployment, right? Let's say I'm talking about now first CI process. This is the CI. One person as a developer or maybe as an engineer is sitting in your local system or local somewhere in the somewhere he's sitting. Okay, now this person is having some kind of like using the Visual Studio or any kind of this thing. He's working with this some code, and it could be here I mentioned like a Git, using Git he'll be using, but in Azure case Git repo, so sorry, Azure repos. So both are same. When I say Git mean it's the same as Azure repos. Okay, so right now I suppose I'm as an engineer, a DevOps engineer, I'm located in my location and I'm using it Visual Studio. Under there I have a Git install in my local system, or in Azure case it is Azure repos. Then when I say what I'll do, CI continue Azure DevOps pipelines, which is your CI process. Okay, then CI process mean we will build, we will first we will plan, build, and test. We will do it basically as a CI process. First we will try to build, basically plan it very well, and we will plan, then we will build it. Okay, test and then plan. Okay, we will first plan, then we will test, then we will build it. Okay, these three things. So this one, first plan, code is nothing but it's just you doing some this thing, then build and test. So you don't have to remember, this is just this three is okay for you. Build, sorry, plan, build, and test. Same thing CD means in as that comes under release pipeline, or your continuous delivery where you have deployment or deploy, operate, and monitor. Okay, so now let's say now this is done. This comes a bill and release pipelines. Okay, this two. Now this is a continuous delivery, which is your CD. There, let's say that means you are first as as a DevOps guy, you are keeping your course ready, and first we will build a code, we will test it. Sorry, we will first plan it based on whatever is it, we will plan, and after planning, we will build it. Okay, we will test it and we will build. After building, we will keep everything in the CI process. Till here is CI. So plan, test, and build. Okay, and so in a case you can mention a plan is nothing but you basically you plan something, then you can have a code also you can mention like a bill. Sorry, plan, bill here. Okay, plan, code. Code means you do some kind of configuration here, and the building the infrastructure, whatever requirement, then test it. Then that's the CI process. But in CD means once everything is ready here, like you will first plan based on your requirement, you will code based on what is required in the project, right? Then you will build it infrastructure based on that, and we will test it first. Before going to the any of the environment, I need to be tested. The code need to be tested, right? So I will test it in my CI process itself. So once I finish the CI process, what I'll do in my CD process, this will the artifacts I'll take it that we will explain as we go slowly. Artifacts will be stored in my pipeline. So what I'll do, artifacts is nothing but your the application. Let's say you have one code here that is based on the application, like some .NET based application. That means to run the .NET application, you need certain kind of independent like a dependency, right? And also it requires some kind of packages which need to run. Without that, the application cannot be run. So that is known as artifacts. So in simple term, artifacts is nothing but it's basically a package management. It's just like a dependencies to run your applications, because isn't every application has their own dependencies. Okay, so once we uh, plan, code, build, and test it, we will keep the or move basically push the artifacts to my Azure pipeline. Once I finish the pipeline here, as in the release pipeline process, I will take the artifacts, I will deploy wherever I want. So in my case, I want to deploy in my Azure Kubernetes, or it could be in my web app, or could be in my virtual machine skill set. So the platform can be like that's what they say, you deploy anywhere, right? So this is why it is used. Okay, so you are clear now what is CI mean, you are clear. CD means you are actually you are deploying the infrastructure, because you have tested the code, you have plan, you have build code, you have build, and you have tested everything. That means the code also artifacts also ready for your application to run. So you can just basically then use the artifacts to deploy the infrastructure wherever you want. In my case, Azure Kubernetes, or could be Azure Web App or Azure Virtual Machine or individual VMs, wherever or anywhere. Okay. So here in my case, as you can see here, this person's working here. He pushed the code to his Git using which is Azure repos using CI everything he did. He did here, he planned code, then he uh, tested, and he built and tested. Okay, once it is ready the artifacts, he will take this artifact as a shared process. He will take the artifacts which is your dependencies to for your application to run. Okay, along with certain they have some codes, everything, right? Package management. And then in the CD process, they will take this artifact from your CI in your pipeline from pipeline and deploy to, in my case, Azure Web App here. In Azure Web App, once you deploy, they have monitoring tools. Also, it is required. As in DevOps guy, you will be working even the monitoring also keep in mind. Not just monitoring, apart from this you have a security and lot many others also. Okay, but for now just try to understand in simple. Okay, so once you deploy to Azure web app, so they want to monitor, that can one monitor can be done in many ways. Example, they can use Azure application sites and Azure monitor, Azure log analytics. Okay, so application is nothing but your, why it I use it, it is also very much, it is a layer. Okay, it basically useful if you want to monitor your application live, like whatever traffic comes in your application. Let's say you have deployed everything now, I want to trace basically with the request of the user request basically, or traffic, what kind of request come on what basis and what is the traffic load that I'm getting. Every single can be met, basically monitored here using your application insights. But in Azure Monitor, it's not like that. It's a similar way. Azure Monitor means it monitors your, based on the what you configure your certain roles. Let's say you want to configure some alerts or CPU utilizations or memory utilization, whatever you can configure. But log analytics also is data source where you can store the data of your VM. Let's say you have a VM now, you have or wherever you have, you can store this as a source data. This is like a source data. You can take from anywhere and store here. Okay, and you can use it, you can retrieve and use it with the help of KQL. Okay, custom query language. With the help of that, you can check your logs whatever you need. So in simple case, when I say CI/CD, in CI process, as a developer, I will first thing I will have a core in my, or I will clone the core in my local systems using Visual Studio or whatever. And with the help of definitely the Git, which is your Azure repo here, I'll push it here. Once I push it to whatever, I will in the CD process, I will first whatever changes like I do, I want to do the changes. Let's say I want to code deploy infrastructure, which is my for my web app. Let's say I will all modification will be done. Everything will be done. They will also be built and test. One testing is done. Along with the testing, the code basically infrastructure code or your this code, your artifacts will be stored here, something known as Azure pipeline, which is your this pipeline. Okay, Azure pipeline. In Azure pipeline, the artifacts will be stored. So once it is stored, your share process work is done. That means you are now clear that your continuous integration work is done here. Okay. Then second part, your work is to from here to till here to push the artifacts to your particular source or locations. Sorry, not source, that is destination. In particular locations, wherever it is, you can have in your Azure pipeline, or if you have a specific some particular server, you can store there also wherever you want. Okay. Then as in CD process, which is continuous deployment, is nothing but here what they will do using these artifacts, because you have tested all the codes, that means you are good enough now. You can take this as an artifacts and then you plan to deploy in your Azure web app. So what I'll do now, if I want to deploy to Azure web app, what I'll do here, I will take this artifacts and with the help of Azure CI/CD, which is my release pipeline, I will configure it. I'll have a certain task here where I'll be defining, like if I want to use it means what kind of infrastructure, how I want me to do. Like it could be sometime I can use using the Azure Azure no Azure Container Registry. In here also you can define here in CI process also. Like instead of using our like traditional way, you can basically use Docker file also. If you talk about bit of containerized based applications, let's say, that means you will have one more here process in your basically repo. In your repo you will have Docker file. Okay, Docker file will be having, that will be defined based on your application. In my case, it is a, let's say, ASP.NET Core. Let's say I will have to make one Docker file based on my applications. Let's say in my case, .NET ASP. So you have to create a Docker file for .NET ASP. Okay, that will be stored in your Git itself, which is your Azure repos. So the artifacts also, artifacts I will take it. Then along with that one, I with the help of the Docker file, I will create the image with the help of Docker file for specific .NET ASP. Okay, then I will push it to the uh, Azure SCR, which is Azure Container Registry. And in my CD process, then here I can what do you say that use the images. Basically, I can pull the images from SCR. I can pull the images and then I can use it for while deploying to my Azure web app, and then rest remains same. So here CI/CD process sometime get changes there and here, but don't worry for now. Just take it very means just understand this only the process. Okay, till here mean continuous deploy integration till. Okay, deployment you want to deploy wherever you want infrastructure. Till here, just try to understand. You don't have to go much deep. We will try to understand first thing. Okay, so like I mentioned, we have discussed yesterday also, but let's understand what is Azure pipelines, right? Azure pipeline automates building. You can see here, right? Building, testing, and deployment. Deploying application for efficient and reliable software deployment. Okay, development with a focus on continuous integration, continuous delivery. Same, because that is why it is used for our Azure pipelines. So it is more of focus on automating, basic automates building, testing, and deploying application. That means you have to first automate things like building, testing, and deploying any infrastructure. So not just application, it could be any infrastructure. Okay, for efficient and reliable software development. Okay, so example, you see here, like what is continuous integration? Automatically build and test in simple term. That means code you will have, right? Code you will have first planning will be there definitely. So you will build the code based on the project requirement or your needs, right? Once the code is been built based on the requirement, you will have to test it, test the code. Once your code is tested and your CI process, this comes under CI, which is a continuous integration, and also create deployable artifacts. It is important because, like I mentioned, you will build and test, but where are you going to deploy, right? So that you have to have some idea, right? So artifacts also require not just the code. I also need some artifacts, which is my dependencies to run my ASP.NET code. So every single application has their own dependencies. So based on that, I need to have the artifacts as well. Okay, so you will have these three. First, what the build test you do, then create a deployable artifacts. This is your CI process. I hope it is clear. Second, continuous delivery. Okay, so automatically deploy to environment or end users. That means automatically what, that's why I was saying, you will take the course for whatever artifacts is there, and you automatically you will deploy to certain environment or end users. In my case, it's a web app or any platform, could be not just the Azure. It could be in a AWS, any platform, but depends on the your requirement where you want to do. So if I talk about the Azure CI, mean it should be Azure itself. Okay, when I see the keyword, when I say CI or sorry, Azure pipeline is nothing but it's more of your automation. Try to you have to automate everything, the process. So what is the why it is important, right? So we need to understand why the pipeline, everything, why we need to automate everything, right? Because if we had to do everything manually, like how would we do normally as a traditional, then in this case, what happen is that we will not be able to do our work. It will be again no use then, right? So we want to save the time, efficiency. It's here, accelerate tasks, saving time. Definitely time you will be saving. Consistency reduces error for reliable outcomes, because the errors also because automation, once the core is ready means you can deploy in any of the platform. It is easy. But think, for example, if we had to deploy somewhere where we had no clue, or maybe let's say you want to deploy some particular not traditional way, let's say web app, every single time or every single requirement you need to keep deploying manually again and again. This doesn't make sense as a DevOps. That is not going to help you. That is why we use with the help of automation in your pipeline. Then scalability, obviously, we have to scale, we can do it. Adapt to complexity and the scale resources. You can scale any kind of resources as and when you require. Quality, obviously, like I mentioned, it is 100% good quality because you will have less error when it comes to automation. Once the code has been tested and you have check all the code seems everything tested and verify everything is good, then you don't have to think much whether any issue. You can assure your code quality as well. Okay, quality assurance can be the cost, definitely cost reduction. Optimizes resources for cost effectiveness. It can reduce your cost as well. The speed and agility. Okay, enables faster software deployment. That is obviously automation mean definitely it will be fast. And listen, okay, then risk reduction. You will reduce the risks and enhance security and enforces policies. Okay, we can reduce your risks of your in reduction of your security as well. Think for example, another example, it is very much important to understand the importance of automation, right? First scenario, think example like live of Kubernetes. You are working as a Kubernetes container deployment. Basically, you want to, I don't know how whether you are aware or not, but still try to understand. If you had to deploy your application to Azure container, okay, Azure basically Kubernetes you want to deploy, okay, and you want to deploy what container you want to deploy basically your infrastructure in your Kubernetes, let's say. Manual everything you can do manually also, not an issue. But as in DevOps, every single task and every single requirement doing manual does not make sense, right? So we should be in a position where we have to automate everything and anything possible, right? Example, you want to update a code one time, two times, okay, you can do it. But as you get your projects, basically grow your projects day by day, or maybe based on the requirement, you will have lot many things to do. Managing everything manually definitely is not a good practice, and it is not at all possible also, right? So let's say in my case, when I say the Azure Kubernetes, you want to update the code, okay, one time you can do, two times you can do, doing every time it doesn't make sense. Okay, so this is for me to do. And you want to build a Docker container, because why Docker container I want to build it? Because I have an image, I want to make this, right? So Docker, you have to build a Docker container also. Then after this, what we have to do, we have to push containers to registry, which I was mentioning in my shape process, right? Because once your Docker container is built, right, then basically the image is built with the help of Docker build. Once you build the container, then you have to push to where? Using Docker push, you can push to any of the platform which can use in future. Okay, so I want to push the images basically to my Azure registry, let's say container registry. Then third, in Kubernetes, update deployment YAML file also because like I mentioned, YAML file is required because you will write many codes in your pipeline, not pipeline basically in your deployment configurations of your Kubernetes manifest. Okay, and also apply a YAML. You have to basically, in simple terms, every single time you have to keep doing for the same requirement. But at the same time, if you have to do same requirement for let's say 10 or 15 times, you may do something or the other mistake may happen in many ways, right? But if you have defined course already and you have structured such a way that everything is defined in your pipeline, then just run the pipeline, everything will be in place, right? So this is why it is very much important when it comes to our Azure DevOps, and we are talking about our Azure pipelines. Okay. Pipeline also we need to understand the basic pipeline basics. Why it is required. Right. First thing, what is pipeline in simple terms? Has say here, automated sequence of steps to build, test, and release code in simple over. What it means, like we will like all the steps, like I mentioned, steps, sorry, sequence of steps to build, test, and release code. Meaning, whatever you're going to do in your task, basically in your infrastructure, you will write a code as an CI process. Okay, that will be automated sequence of steps. What you need first, what is the second step you need to do, what is the third step, those will be defined in your pipeline. Okay, example, is something then, like first you do the X, then Y, then Z, like that. There are basically some steps. So in example, second example I can give, like you can see here, Docker, sorry, build a Docker container first is the first step. Okay, just step by step. First, this is first sequence or first step. Then run a script. After running the script, push Docker, sorry, push containers to Azure container registry example, because we are talking about Azure part. So I will explain later why we are using Azure container registry, why not others. We have open source, which is Azure, sorry, not Azure, um, Docker Hub also we can use it. Docker Hub can be used even in Azure also. We can use that as an image. We can pull that from Docker Hub. But when it comes to Azure, because Azure has their own like services, so why to use the third-party tools? Sorry, service, right? Because it is not secure also. So I want to basically in simple term, when I say the Azure Container Registry, basically, it is just like a repository to store your images. Images, nothing but your container images of your Docker application, Docker based applications or container based applications. Okay. You are going to push the container to here so that anytime in future you can use it, that one. You can pull that one. Okay. You can pull the container image and use it wherever you want or deploy anywhere you want. You want to deploy it in your, once the image is pushed to is here as your container registry, you can pull that one in any of the infrastructure or platform and deploy the infrastructure. Let's say I have a code now. I have pushed the container images to Azure Container Registry. If I want to deploy this same application, let's say I have application .NET ASP based applications. Images are stored here ready made. Users need to pull the image and deploy it to wherever you want. Whether you want in Azure Kubernetes, you want Azure Web App, or Azure normal using VM skill set. So wherever you want, you can have. Okay, so you are clear here. Then sequence of steps declares in YAML format, definitely. B, when we say pipeline, B talks this mostly basic. Every single this thing B will be basically it will be declared in YAML format. So if you see YAML or YML format, both are same. Don't be confused. What is YAML and the YAML? Okay. Instead of yeah, some people they call as YML. Okay. So both are same. In your extension, when you write the pipeline also, you can mention as same as it is YAML or YML. Okay. Then there is something known as the agent. What it does, the agent manages VM carry out the steps for us. Basically, to do all the work, right? Your pipeline, whatever tasks you have defined here, or the sequence of your tasks you have defined in your Azure pipelines, there should be somebody who can carry that your the defined task, whatever you define here, carry out that one and help you in to run that script, right? This is why it says manage the VM. Sorry, manage VM will carry out the steps for us, which is my Azure, basically be agent. Okay, so this will help you whatever task you have defined in your pipeline. They will try to what do you say that they'll try to deploy it, run basically here. Okay, example YAML you have here the repetitive tasks in the same documents. Okay, if you can have a document repeat tasks also, as a agent, you will have that they will take care. Okay. This is important. Second thing is the pipeline structure. Whenever I write a pipeline, there is some sequence, there is some structure. I cannot just write anything that I want. If you may be new to the pipelines, that's okay. You can learn how to structure. Just the formula, basically the structure, pipeline structure, you should know. You will be knowing that. So example, first thing will be the trigger. In pipeline, we will have a stage. Okay. First we have a stages. Under stages also we have a jobs. Under jobs we have a stages. Steps. Okay. So if first see under let's say you have a thing, you have a stage. In stage we have, let's say you can have a under stage you can have a gen agent also one again distinct task, and you can have a job also. Okay. And also if you see another agent as a step, he as a steps, I guess under steps we have multiple steps basically. You can have normally under steps, not just one step, but we will have multiple step. Okay. Multiple steps we will have under steps. So example, step one, this is step, script, task like that. Okay, we can have multiple. So example, first task is nothing but what you want things to be or what command you need to run. Basically, instruction, what exactly need to be done. Okay, in my case, publish build artifacts. That means in a pipeline, you are instructing that please publish the artifacts. And one more task is defined as your app service deploy to deploy this one. Or another task also you can have in other stages, invoke the REST API. Okay. Then trigger. Trigger is nothing but automatically start pipeline in response to event. That means basically when to run. In simple term, when I say trigger, right? When to run. Okay. So it automatically start pipeline in response to events. When to run means certain conditions or maybe some this thing. If this happens, what need to be done? Example, when this X happen, right? Start the pipeline. Then typically, let's say you do some changes in your code, in your pipeline code. Based on that, you can then automatically the pipeline will be running. And all trigger is all basically the trigger also is defined in again same YAML only. Let's say a new commit, you do something from somebody is working from here and push it to Azure repos. That means some commit happen here. Then you begins the pipeline now. The pipeline will start. That means anything you do changes in your code, automatically they will get triggered. The pipeline begins the trigger basically. They'll trigger. Okay. So for now, uh, what we learn is a automation, right? The application building deployment process we learn. Then we also learn the YAML, which steps define in YAML. Okay, then like organ how the structure happen basically in our pipeline. First is the stages, then jobs, then steps. And also Asian also we have learned why Asian is used. They carry out your jobs basically, or tasks, whatever you define in your pipeline. And also this is a trigger. It's automatically started based on the defined triggers. Now let's see. We will see some demo. Okay, we will see a pipeline how it works first. Okay, so Tim, is it clear now? I mean, able to understand?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, fine. So we will this thing. Okay, we are talking about a pipeline, right? First thing, this is a pipeline. Yesterday also I discussed many times, but let me discuss once again. Um, Pipeline. Okay, we will don't think what is written here now. Just understand the flow first. I will try to create new pipeline initially, let's say. And there are many things which I can do it, but for now I don't want to focus anything. I will use okay, I'll Azure Repos. I will use it for maybe okay, no problem. I'll just simply I'll use it. I don't know what is the application. Maybe for timings, do one thing better. We will create one which is there in my GitHub. Okay, or I'll show you both. Both are same only, but nothing difference. Just a code repo is different. Let's say I have it asking first thing. Okay, let me explain a small here thing. When I as soon as I click in the pipeline, you see here it asking new pipeline when you deploy because you want to configure your CI or CI process, right? Pipeline, CI process, then we will release pipeline. First is your CI process. It is asking me where is your code. It is asking me where is my code. That's why I'm saying code can be located in any of the platform. You can use a Git, GitHub, and this is this thing paid one, and the GitHub which I am using it. And also if we have a Bitbucket also we can use it or Azure repos. So that means anytime you want to work with your CI, which is a continuous integration, you should be aware of where your code is located. First thing. So in my case, I like I mentioned, I have in a GitHub. In GitHub, let me see what is that, right? I will try to okay, I'll create this one. See, one good thing what I like about Azure is here. As soon as I selected my GitHub. Normally, I right now I can basically select my code whatever I want. But in your case, if you're new for the first time, you will have to authenticate. Okay, automatically you get a pop-up. You need to log in with your what do you say that GitHub account. If you have an Azure repository, then it is okay. You don't have to do it. But for GitHub, you need to authenticate. In my case, I have already authenticated, so it is not showing. Okay, so once I authentication happen, second it is asking as a new pipeline. That says configure your pipeline. Now I want to configure my pipeline, but I have my code in my GitHub. But I should be now aware what is the infra. Basically, the application is based on what, whether it is written in JavaScript or something .NET ASP or Python or PHP, anything. As you can see here, you can try to explore this one. I request encourage to every one of you, try to explore this one. What is available here? Because as you try to explore more and more this pipeline, you will get to understand many things from here. That is what I learned myself. I try to explore everything. What is the difference between Docker and here Docker? We have the Docker to Kubernetes. Sorry, deploy to Azure Kubernetes service. Like we have so many ASP.NET, .NET Desktop, right? You just what you do, go here, try to explore everything what you need. The reason why I'm saying is this is the foundation where you need to understand first. It has key. I want to configure it, like I mentioned. My code now I'm clear because my code is based on the ASP.NET. That is okay. But if I had some other requirement which I want to deploy to, example, I want to deploy to Azure Kubernetes. In your shape process also I can do. Or if you want, there is basically so many ways basically we can do it. That's something. The pipeline is doesn't mean it should be in the same way. You can deploy in wherever you, however you want. But the logically understanding the concept and understanding your project requirement is very much important, right? So in my case, let's say I want to deploy to um, okay. What I'll do, I will go with the normal, which I already discussed, just for showing. Okay, build and test issue .NET ASP.NET Core if a build and test. So what you do basically learn the description. Basically, just a hint. When I want to build the image, you can use this one. If I want to have ASP.NET, you can use this one project. If you have this ASP.NET code, you can use this one. So all templates basically will be ready for you as a starter template. Or if you want to write from the scratch, that is also good. But I don't recommend for you to work from the scratch for now, because first thing, understand the logic, understand the steps or the pipeline structure, right? As you explore more and more and understanding kind of the structure of your pipeline, you will get to understand everything whatever is there. You don't have to be master in everything. Just see how we can use it, that's it. Let's say in my case I have no clue how to use my ASP.NET code. Let me use this one, code project target. Okay, if I use her here, so depends on your requirement. Let's say I will go with the first one now. What now? See, as soon as I created, what it does is now, um, you see here first, ASP.NET code. This is my the template which I taken. This you don't have to think. This is just if you want, normally you don't have to do anything with here. Whatever you see, let me give a small intro about this pipeline so that whatever we learn now, we will try to understand. Like whatever we try to understand, sorry, here, right? Here, whatever we try to structure, I think, yeah, whatever we try to understand here, along with the agent, okay, we will understand, sorry, where is that? We will understand now in practically. This is your call as the pipeline. First, it is written as YAML, is YML, or you can call it, you can also type instead of YML, you can type YAML. So there is nothing difference. Both are same. Okay, it will take you same. There is nothing difference. Okay, first you clear here now. Second point, we are talking about a trigger. Trigger mean when to run. That means main. Now, what is main? Right? Main basically it says that now anything you do changes or modify could changes happen in my main branch. Basically, this is your branch. Main branch also you can do a pull request. Also, you can have just so many trigger types are there. So that we will explain later. But for now, understand that for why we are using the trigger. That means it says that now anytime if there is anything changes happen in my main branch, it could be your GitHub or this thing wherever it is, based on what how you configure the code. Please trigger the pipeline. Basically, to run the pipeline. Okay. First thing you can now you're clear with the trigger. We also have many triggers, also different triggers we have. Okay, we will also learn that as well. The later chapter. Second is a pull. What is pull? Pull is nothing but you see here agent, right? With the help of agent, they will pull. Pull basically in under pull we'll have a BM image. You see BM. This is a whatever name is there. It can be any BM. If you have your managed BM, which is managed by you, or self-hosted BM or self-hosted agent, normally we don't call BM as a technically in Azure DevOps we call it as self-hosted agent. When I say if you have something you're private, like in your infrastructure or in your environment, if you have it, okay. Basically, when I say the pool, as there agent, there are two types of agents. One is the Microsoft agent, Microsoft hosted, and the self-hosted. Self-hosted is something which you manage. Okay, that means you have your own infrastructure somewhere you have deployed and you are that is managed by you. That is your self-hosted. And Microsoft hosted is nothing but that is managed by Microsoft, where you will not have access to your infrastructure. Basically, in particular agent, you will not have the control over anything, but it will only help you to run your pipeline with the help of pool. To run your pipeline, they will whatever task you have defined here, steps you define here, right? They will take the basic the steps or your pipeline and they will run based on what you define here. Okay, if I in my case Windows mean Azure Windows letters mean it will run here. Okay, clear here. Now this variable and all, you don't have to think much now, because this variable is again, this is part of your applications. Like I mentioned, in my case my application is a ASP.NET code, or whatever, ASP.NET. So this is why I'm get, because they have their own kind of, you know what the solutioning we have, so many other files are there, some dependencies are there, no? So this basically, that is whatever need to be defined as in variable you can have. Variable is nothing but is a logical container which you place things and call, you keep things, and you can use it in future as a reference. You can refer in future. Let's say this is like, let's say you have a box, under box you are keeping some context. Okay, whenever you want to use that one, you're trying to call that one. The same thing here also. Whenever I will have a variable, this is just like a box, I will define this is a key value pair. If I call with the key, the value will be fetched like that. Okay. So in my case, why it is written this kind of structure, or you don't have to think, because this is based on the application. If you go with other pipeline, that will be changed. Just understand what is variable. Why to mention that also, you just be understand the basic. Then steps. Okay. Your step. If you step, see, we have a steps. We have a stages also, then jobs also. But one thing I'll tell you, uh, if I say here, stage also can have without stages also, without stages and job also can have a steps. But if you want to have this thing also based on the requirement, okay, like you see here, only the steps can be there if you don't have any this thing. So that we will see later. Okay, so example, now under steps they have given settings. Settings is nothing but just click here. One thing how you can learn is, example, if I don't know, for the first time I want to learn, I want to understand the how to be master, basically how to be basically, kind of understand better. So the best way, explore the the pipeline, like how we created now. Try to click your settings. Steps you understood now. Settings you click. As you click on the settings, here also you can click, you get to see what this tool is used for. Basically, if I say steps, what is the purpose? Because sometimes by seeing this name, negate tools installer. Okay, first thing, what is the negate, right? Basically, this tools installer basically is nothing but it is once your package management. Package management for what? For your application, which is your ASP.NET code. Okay, so if I talk about a Java, these steps will not be there. You will have a Maven there task. And but if I talk about the just some things some important thing you need to know, like some package management. Example, if I talk about, if I work with the ASP.NET Core or anything related to ASP.NET, you will be having a NIGET. That is for sure. Okay, because that is the dependencies which is required for your ASP.NET code or application to be run. Okay, so same thing, not just the installer, not the installing, but apart from this, I need to have. Let me, if I don't understand, what I'll do, here just click your settings, NIGET. What it does is now it will restore. See here, you can check or pack push anything that is restored solution. What is that? Restore main, because RPM or package management basically has their own source, right? Somewhere it is there. So you are going to restore that one in your solution, which is your ASP.NET code. Okay, you basically install first. After installation of your Nigger, it's a package management tool, and then you will try to restore. Restore is nothing but what is required for this particular ASP.NET Core application to run. So that dependency or any kind of that is required, those will be restored. Okay, then you can see if you just click here, you can see here from where how it is been this thing. So now you don't have to learn how to write a pipeline. For now, just understand this is clear. Now, then we have a BS build. BS build basically also Microsoft again. That why I use say solution letters. I want to use a Visual Studio version. Okay, then MS build argument. So all those things will be already by default. They will give you the full listing. If you go advanced also, if you want, you can just try to explore what is there. If you have a multiple build parallel, you can have, let's say, if you want to add some more, then you can add it. Then it you can see. Okay. So in my case, I don't want to do it. That should also we will learn later. For now, just understand what is the why it is used. Okay. Then BS build. Then we have a task. This is for your again. So test. Like I mentioned, testing, building, testing, right? Building testing is first thing because in placement to be done. What will do? They will build the solution what is been defined in your applications or in your core, and they will also test it. Okay, they will test it. Okay, then later we will also learn something else apart from this one. For now, let's see. Okay, for now I will not be exploring much. Let's see what happens now. Let me run. I didn't do anything for now. I just run. I think I didn't run right. I think yeah. Did I try to add? Did I try to add once again or what? I think this is new, right? I tried to add it. Uh, be like symbol. Okay, no, I think it is there already. No problem. Okay, fine. Now what I'll do, I will try to run. See, as soon as I click here, see, you need to understand one thing. Okay, save to and run. You want to save and run. Whatever commit message, you can give it based on. You don't give the random like that. Well, based on your command, you give. Suppose first, what I mentioned, CI pipeline default pipeline basically. You don't have to mention like this, but just the giving basically in your actually work, you need to mention the details basically commit messages, whatever you need. In my case, I mentioned you won't give him. And here, if you see, as soon as you see here, commit directly to the main branch. If it's the main branch, then it will happen now. Trigger will happen now. But if I have on the create another branch main, under this thing, you can have different name. Let's say whatever name I want. Instead of creating basically pushing the basically committing to directly to the main branch. In some case also, if you want to just test it for some reason, or if you are trying to understand more, yes, you can have another any branch you can create, and then you can basically to the new branch you can commit this one. So it not affect then the main branch. But in my case, I'm because we are just exploring, so let me keep it as main branch. Okay, let me see. uh, Here just keep in one mind team. Okay, what do you do? This space, as soon as I click here, let's say if I don't know also, I let me go back somewhere. I'll go. I'm just trying to explore basically. Go pipeline always. If you want to see anything related to your pipeline, always come in pipeline tab. As you can see here, right now one pipeline is in progress. So let me see. Let me click inside. What is going on? This is one pipeline is going on, and if I see the branch right now, this is the main branch. I mentioned whatever I mentioned right in if I see here, first CI commit default, right? Sorry, CI pipeline default. So right now I will not have right now for anything for this pipeline. This also we will learn later. It is important for you to troubleshoot in any of these situations. Like you can see the pipeline pass rate, why it is used, and also test pass rate, and also pipeline duration. Why we have to use this? This will help you to analyze when you work with any kind of troubleshoot, basically. Okay. For now, we don't have to explore that later. As we go, definitely we will explore more hands-on. Okay. For now, just understand. As you can see here right now, it says the last run with the commit ID is mentioned with the comment messages basically. So let me check here. As I can see here under run, I can see the bill ID basically. This is my bill ID, right? If I click here, let me go inside. If I click here, okay. If I click here, the core coverage is there, others is there, main bold is there. But for now, you don't have to think much what is there and all. Just understand summary for now. Just one thing what you have to notice here, you see here artifacts, right? I could see my the pipeline is the job it says success, which is my green color. It says the full success, right? So, but then I see my as an artifacts in my this thing. You can link with our work item also, but we will not be doing that now for now. Okay, I see here my artifacts as zero, right? That is zero artifacts. That means your code is run, you have tested, but what is required for the particular application, the dependency with your artifacts is not basically published. Where it is not published in your pipeline. See, it is not there. So before that, let me explore inside. As soon as I click, as soon as I click, but so not click basically, as soon as I run my pipeline, okay, for the first time or any time you can say, the how the flow happen basically we need to understand in the backend what exactly happens in the backend, right? See, we run our code based on what is required. I mean, what is defined in your pipeline. We run it, everything is passed. I think 2 times I given this one. That's why I was wondering. 2 times I given, ignored one. Okay, maybe 2 times we did that one. I will remove it. That it should be a build test, and it should multiple times maybe mistakenly got clicked. Okay, no worries. 2 times we did it, that's why. So this is like a sequence. Whatever you define in a pipeline, this is sequence. Let me see this thing because it is important for you to duplicate. Okay, understand, right? Let me go pipelines, pipeline tool. This is the one, right? Let me, okay, here just going, just showing how we can basically modify. Okay, this is my this thing I want to modify. Mean what I do, there is a edit button also, or if you're going for the beginner, I mean initial stage, go here pipeline, select the pipeline whichever you want to modify or edit, go inside, and there is an option edit. Okay, once I call edit, you, that will take you back. Now if you notice here, the first, this is the second image. You don't have to think much about this one. This also is solid. You don't have to think. You start from here. What is that? Nigger install lot. You see here. Initiate, they will initialize. Okay. Initialize. First thing. Okay. I think if I can, how will I? I think I can. Okay. I think I can explore. Let's see. Okay. Good. First thing, understand the step. The step what we have discussed, we will try to understand in actual the step how it will now. First thing what I mentioned is you see your jobs. Jobs will taken care by who? As in you see pool as a pipeline. They will move pipeline image which is my Windows. If you see here, this is the pool we use as a Windows based application. Sorry, Windows as in, right? First thing they took this one. Second, initialize the job. Who will initialize the here? Who's the agent? Agent will take care this one. Whatever job is there, enter job, he will taken care by this particular agent. Okay. And current agent version also you can see here. What is the operating systems? That also you can see latest, because if you see here, be mentioned as the latest Windows, right? So you can see your latest. finish that. Okay, sorry. Here version also with the version. Then all the details you can see. Okay. So for now, and what it does basically, and after this one, what it does, you just check the one by one. Then run the images. Okay, run the images, then version number, included of whatever is there. Okay. Then we have it, provision it, then also run. We will ask here. Download the required task. So if you see here, what we have defined here, task. Here's here. Download the task. Task for what? For your application to run. Which is your dependency, right? You have nigger installer, nigger commands, ms build, test, everything which we define task in my pipeline, basically here steps, right? In my task, we have defined everything. If you see here, right? We have defined everything. So in my case, world, I have defined two times bs test. Maybe I will remove this one of them. We don't. Mm, mm, yeah, sorry. Okay, now you see here everything. Now you can see whatever I told. You see here what basically whatever required for an agent to run, and they will run. They will it is stored there. Whatever he requires for basically the packages of your application, which is your ASP.NET Core. Okay. Then once it is in place, second thing what you'll do is initial job, that is what we have cleared now. Second stage is something, but they will check out the core. If you see my here, just let me take here. You see here. You see here the part check out, then my GitHub name, then my repos name under the main dot to S. What is my S basically? If you notice here, S, right? So it says that this is my repo, and it says the S, right? S is nothing but basically they will with the help of this thing they will check out. Check out is nothing but they will try to basically go to my GitHub accounts and try to scan my code basically. Whatever I have the code in my GitHub, this particular repos, I have a code. I'll try to basically basically try to scan it. They will scan everything to my source directly. Okay, that is your source. Source means okay, that is source. Once you scan, that means if you have any issue here in the code, let's say in your pipeline, not pipeline, in your repositories, you will have a problem. Then you cannot pass others. So that is why it is so much important to understand the flow of your CI process itself. All right. So once I scan the code, like I mentioned, I have defined my code. What is my requirement? I have defined everything. It is good. That is why I did not see any issue basically. So it's good. The second steps is basically a task now. Once you scan basically the code of my repositories, they will build us whatever you have defined in your code. In my case, here, whatever I have defined here in your pipeline, they will try to restore it, commands, build it, they will install it. Okay, everything will be done. You can see what you do. Click one by one. If you click here, okay, Nicker installer. You see what version is there. Then you can see the catching and what's the version. Everything you can see basically. Okay, and also once you that same thing comments also. Okay, and then the use of these comments, then install task as a NIGET. So it's just it's good to explore everything here. Uh, okay, so for now you understood. That means then we will build it again. Whatever task is built, because here is one thing. While building the task, uh, you see a project. On the project we have a D. This is important, team. Okay, D is nothing but your this part A one as particular thing, then blah 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 target. Okay, and also if you see the project ID with the solutioning ID, blah blah blah, this is there. So if you see here creating directory and all, first you don't have to think much in details for now. What I encourage you to do is that let me show you something. Maybe it is somewhere. Okay, just understand this one. This also anyway same thing only. You can explore. We try to explore this. What is there actually? Because we have built a solution, right? So basically, then what it does, you see here, um, done building projects. Projects been built. Now this is your part. A is basically A is nothing but your artifacts, and under this is one folder, and S is nothing but a source, all source, and there is a particular we have it. Okay, they have taken from my this thing. Okay, build it, whatever you have defined in your what it is that in your repos. Okay, then that is done. They have done it. But if you see here, this is building is done, everything is done, and testing definitely will be done. Testing also they'll try to do something. They will test it, whatever they have. They'll finalize everything. So you're good here. But one thing if you notice here, I'm good here. But problem here, what you know? Here, still I don't see the artifacts. Where is my artifacts? Right? Where is my artifacts? Because artifacts I require because I want to use it for my uh, uh, continuous deployment, right? In my release pipeline, I want to use it artifacts, these artifacts of my particular application or particular pipeline. But I see no pipeline, sorry, no artifacts. You see here, I mentioned, but no artifacts. Okay, let me refresh once. See, nothing. The problem why it is not showing artifacts because the artifacts store in my Microsoft this thing. It will store there because I want if I want to export this one, artifacts can be stored in anywhere first time like I mentioned. But in my case, like I mentioned, I will not have access to my Azure managed that is Azure hosted agent that is stored there artifacts basically. But I don't have access to there. Then how will I use it there, right? So if I see bill, what is that? You can see some bill ID, okay? But now if you see here, basically you don't have access also. But I want basically this artifacts, whatever is there default. I don't want this default basically. What I want is I want this to be stored somewhere because the reason why I don't want is that once I finish my work, it will be again clean setup. Every single pipeline, you will be the new agent will be deployed for you or created for you. That means you will not have anything stored in your Microsoft hosted agent. But as per the solution, like in this case, it will be a problem, right? Because I want to keep my code ready, test, build, test, and keep everything ready so that I can use for future. But if I don't have the artifacts, then what is the point, right? So in my case, I need artifacts now. So let's see how we can use artifacts now. Now we understood the process of our pipeline, right? Now let's understand the how we can bring these artifacts here. Let me go back same here, back here. Okay, we went inside. You can edit from here. There are you can see uh, triggers, issues we have, anything settings. We will anyway explain later. You can schedule or run also possible. But for now, we don't have to think much. Okay, will let me go explore. We can edit from here also. Okay, basically editing can be done in two different way. If you go directly here also under pipeline, there is an option, or if you want to check more details here from here itself, let's say you have seen something and now you want to edit me, you can also do from here also. You can just double three dot is there, go here. Okay, Let me see. Now let me send some artifacts to my Azure pipeline. Before that, let me understand the task. Task, if you see here, always it will be always stored under this thing. It will be same. You cannot have, and if you can't keep here. It will not work like that. Okay, see, you get an error. See here, but indentation is showing of sequence entry. Okay, if I put here is okay, because what I'll do is okay. Uh, Publish just mention artifacts. Basically, that's what I'm saying. It is very much helpful to understand the process of your the basically the pipeline flow, right? See, it is not you can't say every time we will use the same steps. It is again depends on the project to project based on your needs. Okay, but if you know the process, anytime you can do a configuration changes can be done by you. So like I mentioned, I don't see here because that is a default one. Let me see what we can do. Artifacts. Now, okay, team, you see here artifacts I mentioned here. I have so many artifacts can be done many ways like uh, artifacts mean copy and publish build artifacts. This is deprecated. Okay, that you ignore that one. Second is for copy file over SSS. We don't want that one. We just want to copy build. Then third we have it download artifacts from SharePoint, share file that also build one. So many ways you can do. Okay, these are all your tasks, and you can download artifacts. Then download artifacts where save, download artifacts. Then download packages. Then download pipeline artifacts. But what we want is we want to you see two things. We want to publish it because our code is there in our local, sorry, in our this thing pipeline, not pipeline in our Azure, the this thing, what is it, the Microsoft this thing. But I want to bring it to my directory, so not somewhere in my locations. So I will basically be storing in my Azure pipeline. So what I can do is I can publish this one. The option is here, publish build artifacts. There are two directory as name. This is what we want. See, you see the definition down here. Build, sorry, publish build artifacts to Azure pipeline, right? That is what we want. You see, second one, the publish or upload file or directory as name artifacts that we don't want. So we are going with this one. So this is why I'm saying it is very much important for you to explore it, everything. So there are many steps are there. As I click here, as you can see here, what is my published, basically the part to publish, where it is going to publish. By default, I did not do anything since what you do, if you click here, if you don't know how to do it, click here. See, as soon as I click here, I can get some hints like what to mention to fulfill this, the what is it that this basically the what to update here, right? You get some idea. Now this is basically like I mentioned, we are going to publish these artifacts to our Azure pipeline. So you see a variable also can exert, like example, you can use a variable. Variable, why we are using first thing? Because it will help you instead of typing everything manually. Just mention the variable and whatever value variable, whatever you mention here, and whatever name or name value you define there, the by name you can call them. So in my case, this is the variable I define as a build dot artifact staging dot, sorry, staging directory. Okay, you see build dot artifact staging directory. By default, basically the artifacts will be stored in my particular directory. Okay, it will be here. I want to know now. It is asking now. It asking artifact publish location. Now this location you will take this thing, but This artifacts name also you can change it based on this. I can change it or keep it as it is. It is again depends on the business to business requirement based on your needs. In my case, I can keep it as maybe I'll change it for my better understanding. I'll mention um, pipeline. I'll mention what no pipeline. I'll mention bill artifacts. I'll mention. Okay, bill is spelling I hope uh, artifacts. Okay, bill artifacts. This one you can keep it as not as default also. This is depends on you. And here you see, like I mentioned, you can see this particular whatever artifacts you have. You can you can send it to a share file also if you have it. Like as you as if you click here, they'll ask what is size everything. They'll ask what. But in my case, I don't have that. I want to store somewhere in my Azure itself, Azure pipeline. Okay, so what I did was now I will whatever under this directory, whatever I define as an variable, we will take it as a, with this name under this folder. They will move this or whatever is there under this directory. Basically, all my artifacts will be moved to here. Okay, as your pipelines, it will be moved here. That is why I was saying in my CI process, artifacts will be moved to my CI pipelines. Okay, or if you don't want to use your pipeline like that, if you have dedicated server where you want to save all your artifacts, yes, that is also possible. I hope this is clear, team, right? Okay, before that, team, once I this thing, I need to be sure I can't see like that. If I have a let example, if I say let's say before that, I'll just copy this name. Let's say I'm just following. Okay, if I click, what happens now? Let's see. See, I'm getting an error, right? I'm getting an error. See what it's now, because the format indentation is wrong. Because when I say the YAML, it works on indentation base, not a space. You can't have a space. You have space, you have to use this thing only. Okay. Don't use, sorry, don't use not space, don't use the tab. Basically they will not work here. Tab will is not a recommended, so it is showing error. So I will remove it. So what I'll do, I will go here. I went same uh under same task lines here. Then I will just try artifacts. Uh, mm, mm, okay, this is the one. If I can mention, I'll change this name. That's why I copied it. This is again dimension. They will be having build or artifact staging directly just there. So I will tag that one and publish in my Azure pipelines. Okay, let me do. So I have just click here. Just put, if you have like that, you just put like that. Just otherwise you can put a you can put a shift then enter. Okay, if you want to two times this thing shift enter you do, it'll take you there, and you can just now add this one. Your cursor should be here. You should put your cursor there first and you move it. Otherwise you come now. See, now I don't see any error. Now I have created a task. So that's what I'm saying. The writing the pipeline is like understanding the flow of your pipeline is very much important and your requirement. So that you need to know. Also you need to explode mode. Okay, so that's why in my case now I mention whatever name I mentioned, that is I'm given. Okay, publish location. Now publish bill artifacts. Okay, now let me see. Mm, uploaded, updated, updated artifacts. Um, in YAML artifacts. That's it. I'll mention. That's what I want to mention. Okay, same thing. I'll do it. And also in your pipeline, if you can see, also you can have like if you have variable. If you have variable, also you can refer it. But in my case, I don't have anything, and we don't have to work. We don't have to basically know for now. Again, this is again mains. Okay, and this is another option. You can have a while before running the pipeline. you can have a enable system diagnostics. This will help you. Let's say in my when while running the pipeline, let's say in my pipeline, if there is any issue while running pipeline, like I want to troubleshoot, right? I want to deep dive into this issue and understand means basically in the bottom this thing you can use this one, enable system diagnostics. Okay. For now, I am not thinking anything about this. So let me run it. Okay. As soon as I run also, I can click here also so that I can check it. What is going on in the backend. Can you understand one more thing, team here? It says that as soon as I click here, it says now the agent request is not running because all potential agents are running other requests currently positioned in Q2 job. Can anybody explain why it is showing like that? Okay, no problem. So it is saying because as I mentioned, we have only one agent here, right? We have only one agent. So we can have multiple agents also and multiple jobs also you can define it. So one agent mean at the same time one task can be done, right? So once they finish this thing, you see here, as I can now is saying the not for the blah blah now is in one Q1. That means this particular agent will be able to handle only one request at a time or one task. Okay, you can have basically multiple tasks. So you see here now it will be now 0 once I finish this thing. Keeps changing. That is why it is easy. It is very much needed for you to understand how it is working in the backend. So if there is any issue with the agents, how you need to troubleshoot. If there is any lag in terms of the loads or in terms of the maybe some pipeline fails, maybe the pipeline is slow. That also we will be learning in subsequent classes. Okay, for now just understand this how it is actually working. That means one agent can only handle one task at a time. They can have multiple jobs running. So if you want multiple jobs running, if you want faster, yes, there is a solution that also we are going to explore it. Okay, so let's see. Let's complete this one. Oh, almost 2 hours we started. So let's see, then we can. So, and second thing, what we can do is, team, if you have multiple pipeline, you can stop your pipeline also, yeah, or disable the pipeline for sometimes. You see now, the error is gone now. See, the error what is gone now. See, right? Because now they started now initializing the now one. They will take one by one. You see now. Okay. Now they will when initialize happen. Now they went to my GitHub and they try to basically scan it everything whether all okay. If all is okay, now they went to the what we define in our pipeline that nigget. They will try to install and restore it. Then they will try to restore it. Restore it of your ASP.NET code, basically packages. Okay. Then we will build a solution for your ASP.NET code. Then they will test it. I don't know why 2 times still I'm getting this one. Okay. They then they will build it. This name I think I forgot to change it. Anyway, this is what we publish build artifacts. Let's see. You see here, publish build artifacts. Let me click here. Okay, publish build artifacts just showing us this thing. Task mention whatever task we have given and description also if you want, you can mention or anything, but it is already defined. So you see here, uploaded 6 files. How many files? 6 files uploaded. 6 files for what? That we will see in our pipeline also. I mean in artifacts. File upload success. Succeed, sorry. Then what is the location? this particular location. That is what I'm saying. This particular location to file container in particular this thing Azure build artifacts and Azure artifacts 53 with the build 20. Okay, that means now your work is done. Publish also done. Now let me refresh. Sorry, let me go back. Let me refresh. Now see here. See team here. Okay. Now the artifacts is there because if you see before the artifact was not published in my pipeline, but now as we have defined in our pipeline here in next this thing not here another pipeline is the old pipeline. So as we have defined here in a pipeline, we can see here, right, artifacts. Let me refresh and see what it is. What is there basically? Click there. As soon as I click, if you remember, let me open new tab, uh, duplicate, because it is important for you to once you're clear with the okay this one we did it, then we went to the edit pipelines. Okay, so if you see here, task name be given, and if you see here, bill sorry artifacts name what be given. This is a bill artifacts, right? If you see here, same thing only bill artifacts. That means you can see the size also. We can see you can if you want you can also download artifacts, copy also you can do. Okay, that's all. You can download artifacts also keep somewhere, or you can download copy the URL also possible. So let me go inside. See. Now, so now see now automatically whatever the I have the code in my GitHub, automatically they fetch an independent whatever is you see the manifest also. Okay, code deploy also, readme or text also. So at these artifacts they have done. So let me check in my GitHub if I can show that also. I think I'll just I don't know what pipeline name be given as repository. Uh, which one we used him? Pipeline name sp.net code. Okay, sp.net. Okay, I think this one, right? If you see here, sp.net, I think this is the, I don't know whether this is correct one or not. Let me check. Web sp.net code.cs pros. This may anyway this basis directly because this with this basically what is simple term whatever we have in our code, okay, they know what is this thing there. So artifacts is downloaded directly from there this thing only because in the solution has built out artifacts based on the what is required for this particular application. Basically this particular application whatever we have defined, no, whatever application is there, they have already taken directly from your solutioning. This and all. I can, I don't know what is, I can download. Okay. Uh, see the this thing what you see already. Okay. Release. So whatever we have, they will this thing. Okay. They will all the artifacts is here with the particular directory. I think I'm doing multiple times. Okay. Anyway. Okay. That is why it is important. Now what I can do is I can use these artifacts. Like now you understood artifacts. Okay, so sorry. Okay, this one I think not here. Okay, not here. I have to reach that. Here. Okay, so we can use the as artifacts now. When we go with the, I want to now I can deploy this one in any of the platform like using here. We will not do it for now. We will do it next week. For now, this is enough. Okay, we will not have to do right now. We will not do, but next week we will start from here only. Right now, we have published the artifacts in our Azure pipeline. Okay, so we will what we will do. I'm not doing now. Just showing you what I'll do is so that it will be clear for you. I will first uh, mention basically stages. This is again release that we will explain as we learn. Let's say I'll mention for staging as staging. Let's say this is staging environment, or you name any name you want, you can give it based on you. Okay, so artifacts is asking you add artifacts. Now I will add the artifacts. Now I know where is my artifacts, right? My artifacts is in my will in my here only, right? What is my project bill source bill pipeline, right? The under this project, I think this is the SP.NET Core. Okay, it is asking the public sorry the artifact published by each version will be available for deployment in release pipelines. The latest successful build up so no publish the artifacts drop. I think I used the correct one, or I don't know which one I used it. Maybe one. Huh. This one only I used it. You see here, the publish the following artifacts, build artifacts. Build artifacts. I kept the name. Remember in my um, what is here? I can check it just for your understanding only. It is okay. If I click here, I, I can see artifacts. See what I mentioned. If you forget, that is why it is good to check it like this. Manually, you can go and check it. Build artifacts name I given. So this is why. Okay, this is why. Now it is showing me artifacts name, build artifacts, whatever name is there. Now I edit. Once I edit, that means your artifacts is now ready. Now you are good to work with your continuous deployment process. Okay, so in continuous deployment depends on the requirement. They can have multiple stages here. Under one, they can have multiple stages also. Depends on, and also we'll have a post deployment conditions and also sorry pre deployment conditions and post deployment condition also we will learn slowly. For now, we don't want to explore much. Just understand right now you have published artifacts from your CI and took that artifacts and uploaded in your release pipeline, and in the release pipeline you give us some stage as a staging. And the staging now if I click here tasks, basically here now I want to deploy it to where. Let's say I'm not going to do it for today, but just showing a hint so that it'll be easy. In my case, I want to deploy it to my Azure web app, right? Style web app. There is a many ways. If you see here, Azure web app deployment, you can do it, or if you have a containerized base, if you have like a Docker file which you uploaded your container image to your Azure Container Registry, you can use a container-based web app also. But for now, we are not talking about anything. So web app, you can see deploy your applications to Azure Web App Service. Choose from the web app do. Okay, this is a simple. That means this is a things. If now what? Hey, sorry, I very I think I clicked it somewhere mistakenly. I don't have to. Okay, I think anyway. Let me go inside. I clicked somewhere. I think. That's why I got click here actually. You ignore this one. I will not record for now. I will delete this one. Okay. I don't need for now this one. Confirm it. Okay. I will not see. Let's say you ignore this one, or what I'll do, I will if you can have basically multiple stages. Okay. But in my case, I don't want to do it for now. What I'll do is I will just go here. Okay. I will go inside. Now I can define a task. Basically, not basically task means where you want to deploy here. In my case, I want to deploy the web app. Web app, you can see this is a, if you have a like containerized based application like Azure ACR, Azure container based applications. If you have already in your Azure or somewhere, you can use this one. But in my case, we don't have it. So what I can use as a web app, there are two way. This one, Azure, this one also we have, this also we have. We can try with this also. Just showing what is there. You can select the subscription. Basically, this is a where you want to deploy. Basically, I need to select my subscription, then type. Again, it is a Windows base or whether it is for Linux base. Okay, in my case, Linux. In my case, Windows Linux base. I can install the app name. The app name need to be existed. In my case, I don't have anything because it is not. That's why it's not found because I don't have anything. Okay, so this and all you will be doing, and also this artifacts again. If you see, if you remember theme here before, we did this one system dot default, right? Just remember system dot default working directory. Okay, if you let's see, just system dot. So using variable system dot default working directory, you see other thing. Okay, in my when I put this thing only, I mentioned this. See, this was mentioned. This one variable system dot default working directory. Okay, so that is why it is showing me here that part will zip it basically. Whatever your runtime you define and run it, then run your pipeline. Okay. Okay, team. I think for now this is all for today's. We will be learning tomorrow. I mean, not tomorrow, next week definitely. So whatever we have done till now, next week we'll be learning how we can use this as an image what we have deployed in my release pipeline. This is called as release. The release nothing but your continuous deployment. Okay, continuous deployment you will do it. So in my case, we have it images now. We can use it next week and we can basically publish wherever you want or basically deploy. Okay, so thank you guys for today's sessions, and I will start recording. Stop the sessions.
Thank you, Iran, for the session.
Yeah.